And we're live. Boom. What's up, everyone?
Happy Friday, everybody. Holy shit. It's cold out here.
Chris made it from his PhD meeting. Somebody asked in the chat, what's a PhD meeting?
A pretty huge dongle. I'm just kidding.
Decisions.
Pretty huge decision meeting. Yeah.
Nice.
I guess some people just aren't born with it, so they wouldn't know what a PhD. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
What is a PhD meeting? We do research getting our PhDs. What is that? Doctor of Philosophy. It's a degree, advanced degree. And yeah, we have meetings about what the fuck we actually did. And then reviewing the data, reviewing the experiments, and then trying to communicate that data through a presentation, which one of my guys is doing. He's actually about to graduate, and he's getting his presentation currently roasted. So, yeah.
Cool. Fun.
It's a particularly important.
Yuha Go says TGIF. I think we can all agree with that.
Oh, okay.
It is.
What's up, Yuha?
Friday, yeah. Welcome back. It's Friday. It's FastTrack Friday feedback stream day. We've got a couple of maybe fun things today. I haven't checked yet, but we might have some new features. If you click on our Twitch channel and then you click on the title at the top where it says FastTrack, we've got a couple of panels that I think are in place underneath.
Test it out.
And we've also got a title that should help people figure out exactly what we're doing a little bit quicker. So yeah, more stream improvements are in the pipeline. This is what we've got today. And for those who are new, what we do here is review your music in as constructive and detailed a way as we can. Me and Chris both have experience with creating music, recording, production, performance, all that stuff. So we try to offer as much expertise as we can. We've got a pretty good list today already. So how about we get into the first one here?
We have Kokomono.
We sure do.
I've heard a lot. So Kokomono is a band that's performing out here in Champaign-Urbana.
It's
and they're
Jake
making
Julian.
A lot of buzz.
Yeah.
Jake Julian? Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I texted you there, but so that one we'll get to at the end. I don't know if he's watching yet, but Jake Julian ran a bunch of house shows in Champaign. Me and him performed together a couple times, and he is doing some stuff in Chicago now, I think, too. He's got a show coming up, and this is his first single, I believe, which he sent us today. So we've got that pipeline. That's towards the end. Got a bit of a queue.
Yeah, who do we got on deck? We got Pfeffin Funk Draft. We got Chess Bro, Agrippa, all caps. We got Juha Go, A Walk with a Breeze. So actually, he was telling me this is an updated version from the last week.
Oh, nice.
It's gonna be cool. So we get to see the progress of what he took our feedback with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Meedle to the Stars, and then Kokomono all the way. So that's the queue. We can accept more if you submit it using our form. Just let us know. And yeah, we can go ahead, I guess, with the first one.
All right, so yeah, first up we've got Pfeffin. The song is Funk Draft. It is a work in progress. Says made this a year ago. Singer turned out to be a cokehead, looking for a vocalist before I finish with drops and a solo.
Yeah, what the hell? That's crazy.
Fun.
Is the coke lyrics on here? All right, but cool. You ready to start?
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Let us know if you can hear it, chat. Sometimes we fuck up. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That vocoder
nice
type.
Chords.
I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
think there's some side chaining to do with the bass, but
Sure.
the source material, man, it's rocking.
Clean.
It's rocking. Love you, Yuha.
Ooh. Yeah.
Bro.
That little hook in there is nice. I sort of wish there was also a vocal to go with it.
Exactly.
Follow that hook.
There just needs to be like a Daft Punk type vocal.
Yeah, it needs a top line. Yeah.
But for real, like this is fire. Alright, it's got me dancing. I gotta take off my jacket. It's hot.
It's a good sign.
It's hot.
Whoo!
All
Nice.
right, Funk
Dude,
Draft.
that was a pretty good start.
Yeah, dude. Funk Draft, aka Funk Daft, aka
Yeah,
Daft
that was
Punk.
a good
Oh, I
one.
should have said Punk Daft. Oops.
Punk Daft. Ooh, yeah, that'd be good too.
For sure. So I'll give that an excuse because I know that he's getting in terms of repetitiveness, because it was a beat, but he's looking for a vocalist, and I'm sure with that comes structure in itself, and it makes it entertaining to listen to. But goddamn,
Yeah.
that is solid.
I would
Solid.
say, yeah, this is like great structure, like great bones for something really full fledged, right? Like
Yeah.
already it's sounding really great as draft one.
Yep.
And I think we both said in the chat, Yuha also was saying like a vocalist would just right now it has all of the push, it just needs some of the pull, right?
Mm.
Like if you can just get a top line on there that sort of like counteracts the really funky staccato-ness with something more fluid,
Mm.
that's the ultimate combination right there, and then it's like a really addictive song that you've
Oh
got.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do we want to go through each category and give our thoughts and ratings?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
Honestly,
so
so I was gonna say, like, so people ask sometimes from time to time. We have a track total there that says track purple at the top, and it's like, well, green's good to go. What's this purple? Purple gives that, like, it's like an extra sauce that we just recognize right away is like really, really, really special. And I just want to point out that this song has a potential for a purple. I don't think it's out there yet, but
mhm.
yeah, like, and you see how it got me moving. And the thing with purple is it's subjective, so don't be
Yeah,
hurt.
y-
If you
you
get a
know,
green from us, it's like someone's bound to give it a purple, but maybe not us.
it's interesting. It's interesting too because sometimes things have the secret sauce before they actually have all of the fundamentals, and it's
Yeah,
like in that case, the work isn't necessarily in making it more special. It might already be really special, which I think this is. It's more in just like the easy things, like the fundamentals of like adding a vocal to this or like
easy.
tweaking a little bit of mixing in a couple spots, that kind of thing. But
Yeah,
I guess to start off with our scores.
go for it. Yeah,
Vibes, I would say this is definitely green, right? I mean, it's not complete.
it's
It would
purple.
the vibes would be even better, but the potential for vibes are so good also. And yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the area where it has that extra something. So I would give it a green in vibes easy for that reason. What about you?
same. Daft Punk vibes. Even if it's a simple vocal, if it's just something that adds a top line, like Josh said, and fills it out, like to use Daft Punk as an example, like some of their songs are fucking repetitive shit. I'm thinking Around the World, for example. Like that song is fucking repetitive
Yeah,
as fuck, but I would jam the whole way because it's just a complete package, and I think this is so close to that. But yeah, vibes. This is green. This is great. If there's a purple for vibes, I'd give it purple. This is
yeah,
right up my
definitely.
alley.
So
Um,
then, I guess content. Let's see. I mean, I think the most important thing in content is just that we need a vocalist.
yep.
It's like partly that there's a little bit of a hole for more of a melody. Like there is that little riff, but that
Yep.
riff just feels like it wants to bolster a full melody, right? Like it's sort of going to double in that little hooky spot, and that's going to be like sonic gold, right?
Yep.
So that's the main suggestion I think in terms of content. Um, this is always like instrument choice and sound choice is always kind of a mix between content and production because it's sort of what a producer does.
Yep.
But I would say that like the only two things that caught my ears maybe being a little bit like inauthentic were at some points the kick sounded a little bit too sort of like you can sort of tell that it's like a sampled kick where
Hmm.
you've got like a little bit too much like beater noise and it's a little bit too consistent actually.
Hmm.
Even just dialing the beater noise back a little bit so it doesn't sound so sort of artificial
What's
might
a
help
beater
with the
noise?
sound. um, so on a kick drum when you've got the foot pedal and then it has the beater that actually hits the drum head.
Hmm.
There are different like materials you can use for that beater that give a different sonic impression off of the head itself. So say a felt you know beater is going to be more of a warm sound and a plastic one is going to hit more with high frequencies and it's going to sound more sort of like
More transient.
that versus that,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, there's more of a high frequency transient there. And when you get these sample packs, especially if it's like modeled drums, where it's based off of like a bunch of samples, different velocities,
Hmm.
those kick drums especially can become really unrealistic because usually when you're actually recording them, they don't have such a consistent and prominent top end usually.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, I would just say like that's one area where you sort of expose the inner workings a little bit, by like, yeah, I can tell this is like the same sound over and over, or like the same sample or whatever. Just
Yeah.
try to make that a little more natural. And then the other area which also bleeds into production was the bass is just like a little bit artificially pumped. Like it's a little bit too big to where
Hmm.
in terms of sonic, there's one issue with just like I'd imagine a lot of systems won't be able to handle the range that you're boosting a lot. I would instead suggest if you want to go for the club vibe, just cut a little bit of that low end that you're doing that's audible in like our headphones and add more in the sub bass because if you're really trying to give that impression, you need to actually use the sub bass, region rather than the sort of lows and low mids because that
Hmm.
stuff can be a disaster when you go to consumer listening systems that can't really pump out that content.
Hmm.
And it just sounds a little bit stuffy, sort of, right? Like when the low end gets too high, it starts to interact with stuff in the low mids, like instruments and harmonic fundamentals of instruments, and you start to get a little bit congested sounding. So I would just
Hmm.
say like bring that bass, move it out of the way from the other stuff just a little bit, and make sure that you're emphasizing the sub bass for the systems that can actually pump that stuff out the way that
Hmm.
you want to.
Yeah.
So I mean, that stuff being said, content, I would give it a develop just because like we need vocals probably and something
Yeah.
to keep the song like it already is staying super fresh, honestly. At 4 minutes and with just instrumental, it's pretty fresh, but the vocal would help it be like a real winner all the way through.
Yep. So for me, content, I'll give right away. Yellow is. Am I hearing an echo? Never mind. Okay. Right away, yellow is without vocals, of course, because we need vocals. And I'm gonna push back a little bit on what Josh said. So sometimes we don't fully agree. I do understand where he's coming from with the kick drum, because I kind of take this as like a clubbing, more so of a clubbing song, more so than it is like a funk song. So I'm forgiving if a sample, as long as it sounds really good. If it's repeated, it's fine to me. I did find a couple of samples that I didn't like that sounded just kind of cheesy. Some of the hi hats I
Yeah.
felt were a little bit kind of weak sounding compared to everything else. Um, and I think in terms of if I were to split up content between production. Like content is kind of sample choice and just the quality of the sample material. I think it's all really, really good. They all sound fire by themselves. But I do think there's some fault in the mixing of them together. And I think that's exactly what Josh is alluding to with the bass. So the bass was really loud compared to everything else. It was fucking dope. I love that bass line. Someone on SoundCloud commented that too. Um, yeah, the low mids are definitely very, very high, and it kind of gets in. And you kind of heard it. It kind of clashed with the kick drum a lot. So if you kind of make room for the kick drum in that lower mid area, maybe you wouldn't have to boost the what did you say, the pad noise, whatever it's called, so much.
The beater noise, yeah.
The beater noise, yeah. So in EQing, it's typically ducking before boosting. So try to duck that bass, make room for everything, make room for the
Right.
kick before you boost EQ bands. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think content is, for me personally, I think it's green without considering the vocals, and then yellow because we need vocals. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But by the way, one tip here if you're trying to figure out, because I know like when I listen to the song, it's not so much that there's like really blatant obvious issues with the low end stuff that's happening there. It's
yeah,
more just that it's sort of like sticks out a little bit like a sore thumb, right? Like
yeah.
if I switch between this and Daft Punk or like something that's in this genre, there's going to be a very clear difference in the frequency spectrum that you're getting. So
Well,
I would just suggest like A B them. Just use reference tracks, whatever you're trying to sound like the most or that you like look up to. Listen to both, and then you're like, oh shit, like mine is like really way out in this area, and there's the one that I'm used to is actually really different than I thought. Reference tracks is a great way to go. One
yeah.
that I forgot about content with the arrangement, there were a couple areas where I think you could use more like auxiliary sounds, like swells and that kind of stuff, to sort of like bring in a drop or just keep things like
Oh, he
sort
said he
of
was going to do that too.
oh yeah, like add a little bit of sparkle around things.
That's true.
That can really help, and I think
Yeah, he
that's pretty
said
much it.
finish with drops and a solo. Yeah, like
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's thinking what you're thinking for sure.
So I mean, this can only go up from here, honestly.
Yeah, and
But
I was gonna say, just to highlight what Josh was saying, you could see with Yuha, he said it too. Um, it's coming through a bit. It sounds crushed. It's slowly fixing itself.
that was at the
I
beginning.
yeah,
I think that was
I
stream.
think. Well, oh, okay. I thought it was my experience honestly. So when the bass first came in, I was like, oh, that's really fucking loud, and it's really groovy. But
Hmm.
my ears kind of acclimated to it. And what I'm saying is like
Yeah, sure.
yeah, like if you look at Daft Punk, which is like mastered really, really well, like it won't be that kind of experience. Like you don't have to get used to something sounding kind of, for the lack of a better word, unprofessional. But yeah,
Right.
I think that's a. I thought that's what Yuha was saying, but maybe not. He also says my BBCSO cycles. I God knows what that means. Through different samples when it plays the same note to try to combat what you're talking about. Yuha, you might want to elaborate what
Oh,
BBCSO means.
I'm trying to think what that it's something to do with a kit sampler or something like that.
Okay.
Um yeah, it's some plugin probably, but
Yeah.
yeah, usually they do like humanize a little bit where they have different samples and they sort of don't sound the same. I wasn't really as concerned with it sounding exactly the same. It's more that when, like Chris said, a sample sounds a little bit cheesy and then it's exactly the same each time, that it really sticks out.
Hmm.
If it's like a good sample, sometimes you can get away with it, but usually a little bit of variation helps people feel like it's something natural versus like totally unnatural that they're listening to.
Yeah, and it depends. I mean, some people really like unnatural shit. Let's go production though.
Yeah. So then production, yeah, we do have to finish this one up.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's
I
where we're
mean,
mostly common.
yeah, I think we went through a bunch of it already. It's like your
Yeah,
spectrum, is a little bit low heavy, low mid heavy. Use some reference tracks. Make sure that you're monitoring on speakers that you can actually hear that stuff accurately. And oftentimes, like if you're in a small room, it's going to be very hard to accurately monitor low frequencies because of the way they interact with the room itself. So yeah, headphones definitely
headphones
recommended. Like ATH M50. We need to get sponsored one of these days,
for
but
sure.
get
I
something that's
second that.
even. Yeah, like you should probably avoid something that's like a super contoured like audiophile headphone because those are trying to boost and cut different frequencies to make it sound more pleasing to the ear. That's not really what we're after in mixing. We're after accuracy. So anything that has as flat a curve as possible across the frequency spectrum, and you can find information about that online. But yeah,
Yeah.
big
You want
big thing
accuracy.
is reference tracks and frequency content here. A couple of things we talked about with samples, and then the vocals. I can't really think of a whole lot more than that, even on the production side. I think generally your source content is pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
things
think the
things sound
biggest
good
thing
so
was
far.
just the balance of the bass and what you were saying with the low mids.
Yeah. So I mean, I would
That's
give it a
really good.
chartreuse. I'd give it a
Yeah.
chartreuse in production
Yeah, same. Yellow, green, lemon, lime.
for sure.
Track total, but I think it's chartreuse, but I think this has a potential to go purple for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
It's very
pheasant.
like it's like 75% to between yellow and green for me. That shade of chartreuse.
Yeah. I mean, with vocals, without vocals, it's like, yeah, you can't release this yet, but
Right,
dude,
right.
this has potential, man. I think to go purple. So once you finish it up, unless you fuck it up, once you finish it up, man, submit it back to us, and this could be on our playlist for sure. I think it has potential.
Yes.
So
All
cool.
right. Let's do the next one here.
Let's see.
Uh
I'm gonna while you do that, I'm gonna read Yuha. The Spitfire plugin I use. Okay, so SO is probably Spitfire or something. Orchestra maybe. For example, they record each instrument they're playing the same note multiple times to get a small difference. Yeah, that's a good plugin does that. For the bit crushing comment, I was more for you guys to understand how the song comes through on the stream. Okay, but it came through 100% at first. I'd probably agree with Chris because it was 100%. I felt the way too. Okay, sweet. So it's a little bit of both, Josh.
yeah.
Uh-oh. Chess Bro!
Chess Bro, you got to get your shit together.
Chess Bro! Are you here in the chat?
All right, so
Are you here to say what's up?
this isn't
Because,
working.
yeah, this guy fucking submitted how many different versions of the same song through our submission form and email too, right?
Yeah.
And he
I
was
don't
like,
know
okay,
what's up with that.
now this link works. And yeah,
Yeah,
it
I think
doesn't
we
work.
got like
So
5 form submissions and they're all the same.
yeah, let me see if I could
I
find
think.
one. If
Oh, you know
not,
what? He actually emailed us something.
oh, he did.
He might have.
Okay. Let's see. It might not be on
Let's
Chess Bro. It might be on our team actually. Enrique, maybe. But I don't know.
Well, it would be best if you can get the link in the form, but that's okay if there's a reason why not.
Right, but
There's
there's
one that
7
he
different
sent
versions.
us. Yeah, there's one that he sent us on YouTube, I think. Let's
On
see if
YouTube?
this is the one. Yeah, like through email. It's a different song, but we can do this one. I'll send it to you in our chat.
Okay, sounds good. Shout out Chess Bro. We love you. But what the fuck? What happened? Okay, maybe it has been removed. Yeah, it is confirmed. Both links that he sent us does not work.
That's all right. We've got this is a different song, I think, but it's still he sent it to us like a couple days ago.
All right, let's do it. Let me open it. Okay, so there's probably no introduction, but Chess Bro, if you're here, bro, say what's up in the chat. He's goated. Friend of the stream. Oh shit. Okay, how old is this? Oh, it's pretty new. September.
All right, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's Due Disrespect, Chess Bro. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, sure. That's what I'm trying to do. The way I look at it is the knowledge that I'm going to die that creates the focus that I bring to being alive.
Kind of creating high
Urgency
frequency
of accomplishment. The need to express love. Now, not later. If we live forever, why ever even get out of bed? Because you always have tomorrow. She wanna be a part of me, she wanna live in mine, she wanna get she wanna wake in my bed, want a fresh coffee with a breakfast spread, don't talk freaky, is a bucket, she wanna be a part of me, she wanna live in mine, she wanna get in mine, she wanna wake in my bed, want fresh coffee with a breakfast spread, only talk freaky when you're
I like this vocal delivery. Ah, shit, it ended.
Yeah.
Fuck. Sorry, it's playing another. Chess Pro, due disrespect. That might have been one of my favorite vocal performances from him. But I do
Yeah.
have some. There was like a glaring thing with me for timing. I think it was
Mm.
a synth that it just seemed like it
Yeah.
started behind the beat and then was rushed to like
There's
catch
one that
back
was
up.
like going like
Exactly.
it's going
It's the
all
same one.
around, and it was like kind of
It was
messy.
the way that I could describe it is it started behind the beat and then it was like timed faster than everything else, so it caught up to everything at the end.
It could
And it
have
was
been a
throwing me off.
sample. It could have easily just been a sample that was at a different tempo, and then he tried to manually adjust it, and it wasn't quite right.
Yeah, or Chess Bro just trying to be an artiste, but yeah. Because
Right.
the thing is the vocal performance I thought was probably one of the best that he's shown us so far. It was locked in with the drums, but that synth was throwing me off. And
Mm.
then like he had screaming emo vocals that I fucking love. And yeah, I thought it was like very tightly delivered. But yeah, that was my first impression of it. Sorry. But yeah, what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, same pretty much. I mean, yeah, I did like this vocal performance, and his lyrics and stuff and his flow like are good. But there I just feel like there's always so much like
It was the
I feel like
tightest,
the
I think.
production I honestly feel like takes away from like who he is as an artist, to be
Mhm.
perfectly honest. And I know that
It's
this
always a
one
wall
was
of sound. It's always.
yeah, this one was premiered before we gave him feedback on like a couple other songs.
Got you.
So, he could use that feedback, but it's the same thing. It's like, I don't know if you just got some whack listening setup where you're like totally not accurately hearing your song, or if you're just not comparing to anything else with those speakers like reference tracks, because people are like, we said immediately, and people in the chat are saying the top end is like piercing,
Yeah.
and it's also directly tied to the fact that it's brick walled.
Yeah.
It's just so compressed to where it's like information overload all the way, and your spectrum is whack because that top end is just piercing our ears there. I don't
Yep.
know if it's like a limiter and maybe like an exciter or something, or what the deal is, but when you do all that processing, you kind of destroy the track and your audio and your source material even. So
Yep.
just like we've talked about it before, I'm sure that you've been working on that stuff. Would love to hear if you have sort of addressed that, because we haven't heard anything yet, I don't think, where you've really addressed it.
Mhm.
But other than that, I mean, it's a good performance. Seems like a good song. Maybe wish the ending wasn't quite as abrupt, but yeah, I think the length is okay for this kind of thing, but it just ends pretty abruptly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and other than, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more than that. I could probably bottle those things into the categories pretty quickly, but
Yeah. I
I
always
don't know.
say
What do
this
you
with
think?
Chess Pro, dude. Like, I feel like he rocks live. His
Yeah,
energy
man.
is so cool. His
Sure. I was thinking,
the
I
way that
actually
he
want to
writes his
hear.
hooks and stuff, like it's like
Yeah,
stuff that you want to sing along to. And he even adds, and I added this before, he even adds like a it sounds like a crowd of people are singing his song. I don't know how he does it. I don't know if he does it
yeah.
himself, but it sounds really great. But it is overshadowed by the mixing is just always a brick wall. And in this case, the high frequencies just weren't dug where they needed to be, and it sounded very grating. I got used to it overall, but in the beginning, I was like, man, these high frequencies are grating. And then Yuha says, it's a little less piercing. What's up, Espa Beats? First time chat. Let's go. Welcome. Happy
What's up?
Friday. Sorry, what's up, Josh? I was cutting you off.
I was actually thinking I'd be curious to see what he sounds like with a producer, like a different producer. Like
Yeah.
I know, I
Or
mean,
like an engineer, right?
yeah, like I mean, you're on your way to making like dope shit here, and maybe yeah, maybe even just with a different mixing engineer. I would just be so curious to like sort of strip all of the stuff that's distracting from you as an artist, and to hear more of you undistracted and in a professional context. I think that could be really, really impressive. So yeah, I mean, I sort of want to go through this one a little bit quickly because I think we gave most of our thoughts and we've still got a few more.
Yep.
Um,
Sorry.
but I mean, vibes for me, um, I would say like I like it. I definitely like the vibe of this, like especially in your writing and your delivery, even more than a lot of your other stuff. So yeah, I would give it probably like lemon lime or something like that for
Mhm.
vibes. Um, I'll just go through really quickly on these.
Do it.
Content, I would say, aside from that ending, like short, and then some of your source material being like not in sync with each other or just like overlapping, like some things don't feel like they're placed very purposefully. Um, I would like to see you kind of clean things up a little bit, which we've also talked about before in terms of your content and arrangement. So I would give it a develop in content, and then production. The main thing is like we want to hear what this actually sounds like without the brick walling and without the crazy high frequency stuff.
Mm.
So that's really the starting point for this. I honestly would have to say like Orange, like pretty close to redo on production because there's some things that are good, but there's a lot that needs to be dialed back for us to really hear your mix.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
Vibes. So Yuha Go, he also says this. This is the kind of music I mostly listen to despite being an orchestra composer. I would have not guessed
Nice.
that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Um, I can kind of agree with that. This is so his energy is fucking high. He's screaming. Um, the instrumental is like different. I could see this being placed in like a basement house show, which that's where I play and my band plays and my friends play. So this is right up my alley. I love the music. Um, so I'd give the vibes for me is a green. Maybe shave off 10% towards yellow, just because in the beginning it's grating and it's like when music is hurting me to listen to, it's like that's the worst. So content, we talked about it briefly. Um, I think the artistry's there, the performance is great. There's some stuff that I really like that you do in effects. Maybe that's production. Um, the ending is classic chess pro, just abrupt, which is okay. It's fine. I don't know. I think most of my gripes is production. Um, with the lyrics, even I think chess pro has like weirdly enough. When I started songwriting for a band that I'm in, and I'm getting like help from other of the band members too, but sometimes a lot of the times they'll default to like very, I think, standard lyrics or whatever. And I find myself more and more appreciating people that are fucking unique. And Chessbro is someone who's just fucking unique. It's like I would never have put my I would never talk about it this way or put this word there, you know? So I fucking appreciate his artistry. I think content for me is green. With the exception of maybe some of the sounds being too grating, especially that do synth sound that me and Josh knew right away. We knew which one was like sticking out in production. So yeah, the timing issue with that synth, I swear to God, it threw everything off, and it was very sad because your vocal performance I thought was the tightest it ever was, and it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mostly, dude, it's brick walling. It sounds like everything is brick walled to the max, and the high frequencies, unfortunately, were also just accentuated. I heard some de-essing issues as well, like with the sibilance uh, frequencies of your vocal performance. Those were cutting through as well. Um, so try to de-ess there. And just generally, it's like instead of a brick wall, which in some noise music it works because that's like the point. I don't think that's the point that you're trying to come across. The point is to try to highlight like the really cool and unique stuff of each song. So for me, like it's your vocal delivery and the fact that it sounds like you have a fucking chorus of you singing behind you. That sounds super cool. And I can still kind of hear it, but it's buried by everything else that just yeah, it doesn't need to be boosted. So um, production for me, I think it's yellow to orange as well. Track total to develop. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I would say track total definitely is develop. I think it's most of the same things we've talked about before. So just would love to hear some of those changes, implemented on one of your tracks, Chess Bro. But yeah, otherwise great performance again and looking forward to hearing more.
Dope. Let's see. I'm just gonna look at the chat real quick. First time chat. P Blizzard Q. Yo, the form is so long. Yeah, dude, we get that a lot. There's somewhat of a reason for that, but thank you for sticking by. You finished it. Appreciate it. P Blizzard Q. I think there might be a like a command for it. I think we could test it. Exclamation point submit. But I see Josh already typed in the form. Did that work? Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe we can put commands in our panels, but exclamation point
We
submit.
Speaking of commands, we should do the disc. We should tell people about the Discord also and do that one.
Yeah, check that out.
For people
We have a
who don't
Discord.
know, yeah, we have a Discord. Just you can chat with people about your music industry experience or questions. Making music collaborations, all that kind of stuff. You should join. It'd be a fun time, and you get to hear when we go live on the stream each time. So yeah, feel free to join there. And I
It
think,
says
and also,
Yuha go. It looks like you are the missing link. Goodbye. I think they timed out Yuha for 5 seconds. Sorry, Yuha.
oh god,
We have to command our bot. I guess what you could do, Yuha, thank you for helping us. I think you're pasting the link. Just do the command. Do exclamation point submit. Appreciate you. Okay, let's get to the next song. It's Yuha.
nice.
Oh yeah. I tried to link the form submission to timed out. Exactly. Yeah. So try out the command, the exclamation point submit next time. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Cool.
All right, so we've got Yuha up next, and the song is "Walk with the Breeze." The description. So this is work in progress. We heard this one 2 weeks ago, I think, and it says that it's been changed. Violins 1 and viola now play the melody. Orchestra swells made more swelly. I think we did talk about that. And yes, indeed, did compress the timpani to try to bring its transients out more. Great.
Cool.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear how this has changed.
Same. The Ghibli Zelda type vibe. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, so nice.
So Ghibli. This makes me want to get my blanket. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Tiffany. I can actually tell what it is now. It's good.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh's favorite part. Ooh, this part sounds great with that timpani. Walk with the breeze, Juha, go, everybody. Fuck, hold up.
Nice. Oh man, that end part wants me. I sort of want the one there because you just get the seventh, and it's like I want it to resolve, but it's kind of cool. I like that. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of songs do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah, I
shit.
feel like this is definitely an improvement from before. You said that you
Bro, the
didn't
timpani
change the.
sounds so serious now.
Yeah, the timpani definitely like brings it up a notch. It sounds a lot better now.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know if you changed anything else, like just with levels of some of the instruments or whatever, but that middle part, I think what we were addressing before was some of the sound choices sounded a little, like obviously they were like a sample pack or something. They didn't sound like the instruments that you're sampling, right? And that's very common. It's very hard to find things like wind instruments, like strings, even sometimes drums that are like realistic, especially when you're modeling the actual instruments, which you are here.
Mm.
And for some reason, some change that you made, maybe it was the timpani or some of the levels, I thought that section sounded a little bit more realistic this time. So that
I
was
thought
good.
that section was the best balance, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Since we
agree.
want to say shout out, first time chat. So I thought, what's up, bro? And Metal Music, he's next in the queue, I think. Gosh, it's so good.
Hey,
You got fans.
let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should say, or Chris, do you want to give your first impressions?
Um, it's beautiful music, man. I love it.
Yeah.
The timpani, dude. I swear, it sounds so much more serious. That's crazy to me how that part. Because if you said you didn't change much in the middle part, I know you changed the timpani because you told us that you did. Dude, it sounds so good. Like that was my favorite part. Last time we said it was like kind of hokey. That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
And I think I liked it a little bit better than Josh did the first time. But yeah, so I noticed that the entrances in the beginning when the strings first come in, you did make it more swelly. I do think there might be too much swell, interestingly enough, throughout the song. But the imagery that I also saw in my head was that a conductor is kind of swelling the orchestra and in and out. So if that's what you were going for, I think it came across well. Um, if it's not what you're going for, maybe what I could say is I don't know what exact meter or knob they give you, but what I'm thinking is like a attack time, for example. Um, for those notes where after the strings have been established and they've been swelled in nicely, you can turn that attack time down such that, if they're playing like a complex part that's very fast notes, that you can hear those fast notes instead of it kind of just slowly fading in with each note. So, um, in terms of balance, I'm sorry, I'm just getting into production right away. Um,
Can I offer a comment based on your strings
sure,
thing?
sure,
So
sorry.
I actually I wanted to wait for Chris to give some initial stuff here before we went into that, but
Yeah,
that's
I'm
what I was
getting,
gonna
yeah.
say before is like um the the strings I think might be one of the most important components of this song to make it sound really good, and I think they're also probably the hardest part to make them sound like realistic and natural. And I would have to agree with what Chris says about the like too much swelling. And what I identified was like way too much range and volume, right? The quietest part, like at the beginning, I felt like was even a little bit too quiet, and the loudest was too loud. So like your other instruments are floating around here in the middle most of the time, and the strings are like down here, then roller coaster, like way above everything else, like a little bit piercing, too loud, and then like back down kind of quickly. And I think what he was saying about like attack time, um, the whole thing with the swells, like Chris, you said you were visualizing like a conductor like doing that. I
Mhm.
was more seeing a fader because it
Yeah,
felt like when a conductor does that, there's sort of this inherent like inertia of getting all the strings players to ramp up together that makes things inherently very smooth, right? And that's why it sounds so nice and like visceral when all the strings players get louder, but their volume doesn't. It sounded to me like what was happening was the volume was changing more than the intensity of the strings themselves, which is confusing because when you
yeah,
hear an orchestra that's recorded in a room and everybody swells up, you can hear that energy change, and the spectrums of the instruments get brighter and all of that stuff. But the volume doesn't have a huge range, right? It does have some dynamic range, but this is like too much to where it doesn't sound like real strings. It sounds like it's a pad or like a synth type thing that's just being modulated with automation in a DAW. So I would again like try to work a little bit on reducing the dynamic range just a little bit of those strings because the volume itself is going up and down too much, and trying to slow the swells down a little bit so they're a little bit more elegant. And again, there were places where it felt like there were maybe unnecessary swells that sort of went way down low and then back up like a second later, and just sort of stretching that stuff out a little bit, making it a little more legato might be nice. Should we go into the categories?
Yeah, let me just address the chat real quick.
Sure.
What's up, Darius? ZGD. Yuha Go, for sure, I agree. A little too much swell. I wish I had a couple more days to iron out before your stream, but your stream is coming up, and I want to be involved. Appreciate you,
Nice.
Yuga.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's a work in progress still. So yeah, take it in stride. And dude, I mean, where you're going, it's sounding really great, and a lot of people like it here.
Yeah.
Darius says, "Could I show you one of my tracks? Just started." Sure. Okay, we're gonna have to send it. Thank you, P Blizzard. You fucking rock, bro. I think another thing that we want to do is get like a Q plugin or extension or something. We're telling our team about that. But yeah, for now, appreciate that. For now, the Q we have. Yuha just went. He's our third person. We have Meadle to the stars. He's in the chat. So sit tight. With Kokomono, with Espa Beats, and then Kai Lethal. So Darius, we might. We typically go till 7:30 p.m., which is about an hour from now at the latest. You might be able to get in at that time if we go a little fast, but yeah, even if we don't get it, we get to them eventually, and we'll push you just to the top of the queue next week. So that's what it's looking like now. Yeah. All right. So we did kind of our first impressions. Should we do our rating system?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yuha says, "Go ahead and finish me up and move on. It's all good." And Darius says, "It's okay. I'll wait." All right. Up to you, bro.
Everyone's so polite here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It must have been the music.
Yeah.
Vibes, you know, it's right up my alley. I love Ghibli. I love Zelda. It's literally like Ghibli in the beginning. Oh, I have to get to it later. Ghibli in the beginning, and then Zelda riding on a horse in the middle, and then beautiful ending. So green for me. Content. I think all the instrument choices sounded a lot better. Tiffany sounded fantastic. That's more production though. Yeah, I think content is pretty much green. The only thing I would say, and I talked about this before, is with Joe Hisaishi in particular, he has a very strong knack for making very memorable melodies. And I think I mean I hear the motif of the triplets and dun 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 dun, dun you know, coming back in from the beginning and the ending, and it's there kind of throughout. But Joe, and I think you know what I'm talking about, Yuha, it's just on another level with melody. So try to, I guess the only thing for content wise, if you could try to make a melody that just sticks with me and that's like kind of played as a motif throughout, I think that would take this to the next level. So I would say it's like 80% green, 20% yellow. Production, Tiffany sounds fucking great. Good job, good change. Swells, there's a little bit too much swells, maybe overcorrection a little bit, but I think it definitely sounds better than cheesy strings coming in and with no warning.
Right.
I think that middle part sounds fantastic. I think it's the best balance that you have. Try to reference everything with that middle part. I think. I would say the only thing I have to say production wise is in the beginning, when the strings do first come in, they swelled nicely, but I think they kind of overtake the piano and the whatever, an oboe. I don't know if what I'm hearing, but it has like a bump 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 part, which I feel like that's the main melody, and it's weird that they're getting overshadowed. They're also centered, so I figured that's the main point. And if it's like an orchestra kind of surrounding the space, I would love to just like push the orchestra out to the side with like some stereo delay or something, and not down the middle. But yeah, that's my kind of thoughts. Production, I would say maybe 60% yellow, 40% green. But yeah, what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, vibes, what is there to complain? I would say like the only thing that could distract from the vibes is just some of the dynamics being a little bit awkward. But overall, you know, it puts everyone in a good mood here, as we can see from the chat. And it's nice. So I would give it pretty much a green for vibes. Content, I think really what you're dealing with is like if you can maybe like I sort of see what Chris is saying about having like a melody that's, more consistent throughout, or something like a theme.
Yeah,
Uh, like it's very pleasing and relaxing, but I just wish we could like have something more like catchy or memorable as
yeah,
like a melodic, like a melodic motif that we could kind of have throughout. That would be really cool.
yeah.
Um, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have that, I
Yeah, to
think.
be honest, like that's to me, that's like a difference between good to go and purple.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think our goal is to try to get everybody to good to go because purple is subjective at
right.
the end of the day. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and then other than that, I mean, the swells might be part of arrangement, sort of, but other than that, content I think is an improvement from last time, I would say, and just about at green, if
yeah,
not all the way there. Production is the main thing, just with like those violins are sort of getting in the way a little bit. At the beginning, I, I felt like the piano sounds really nice, and I didn't feel like it was a huge problem. But I did notice the strings were quite a bit lower in volume relative to the piano, where one sounded much further, in field than the other. Um, and then what happened, like Chris said, those violins overtook the piano and everything else. They got a lot louder in that second section. So just making it a little bit more consistent. And maybe like if you're having trouble judging the volume of those two things at the beginning against each other or anywhere else, turn your volume down like as pretty much as low as you can tolerate, and then try to judge the levels again. Because if you're listening to something for a long time at the same volume, you lose perspective as to how loud things actually are. And it can just be a good little trick to see like when you turn it down and the piano is at like a sort of an even volume and the strings are much lower, then you lose them and you're like, oh, the strings must be too low, and then you know to turn them up a little bit. So yeah, the low volume trick might be useful here. And for
for
production, I would
balance.
give it probably, around develop, maybe even like, a chartreuse somewhere between yellow and green.
That's what
But
I was thinking.
yeah, track totals.
Track total, I think it's almost good to go. Because the swell stuff, it's at that point it's pretty much subjective. But I do hear what Josh is saying that it sounds like a fader. It did sound like a fader instead of a conductor. I pictured that's like what maybe effect he was going for with the conductor thing. But yeah, so I would say it's like pretty much maybe 75% green,
Yeah,
25% yellow.
I was gonna say about like 80% of the way to green.
Yeah,
All
cool.
right,
I can't
cool.
wait to
Thanks
hear
for
it.
sending us another very
It's so
relaxing
cool to
track. And
hear, dude, the timpani, man. Like the last time I was like, if you remember, the last time we listened to it, I was like, what the fuck is that? I
yeah,
was like, oh, is that a timpani? And then
right.
now it's like, it's obvious. All
And
right,
just hearing it twice was cool.
yeah. All right, so we'll go into the next song. It's by Meadle, and he's here. Shout out Meadle. While Josh pulls it up, I'm just gonna read the chat real quick because they've been going off. Let's see. Darius is waiting. Espa has patience. Appreciate you. Music puts Blizzard in a good mood. The your music, Yuha. So there you go. Um, yes, Joe is just on another level. That's redeveloped for sure. Yeah, not everyone could be Joe, especially not yet. So keep going. But I believe in you. Let's see. This one gave me Genshin Impact vibes, to be honest. Yep, that's pretty much like anime video game type beat for sure. Soy Thought's going to sleep, even though he submitted a track, so he said to play him next week. It's like, okay, we'll remember that, Soy. Hopefully your name is Soy Thought in the form, so we know who you are. But have a good night. US says thanks, Blizzard. Let's see, you're at top level. Skip it, you get today. Darius sounds like rocket science for me. Uh, Unfortunately, it's not rocket science. It's simpler than that. We're not that
Nice.
smart. Um,
Yes.
Next guy's super helpful. Bro, I just got done recording me yelling lyrics. Just helped me relax. So thanks for that. All right, cool. I'm caught up. Sorry, Josh.
All right.
All right.
So I think we've got this one here. Meadle to the Stars VIP. This is a finished release. No description.
Yeah.
You got it pulled up?
Just a second. Yeah. Um, Let me just preface this, and you, Mito, you could say this in the chat. But I guess so. VIP. I forget what VIP means, but um, when I was in the dubstep scene a while back, it's essentially like taking a previous song that they did and then doing some changes to it, like changing. It's almost like remixing your old songs to an
Hmm.
extent. So he has an old version of it. That's like the kind of backstory. That's what I read on his Reddit. And when I was listening to it, like the first part of it, it sounded really, really professional. So, um, I'm not gonna give that the whole track total yet, because who knows, you might fuck it up. But that's the kind of backstory to the song, all I know. So yeah.
All right.
But this is a Meadle to the Stars VIP. 3, 2, 1. Variation in production. Thank you.
Ooh. There we go. Nice bass.
Cool, rich vocals. It's building up.
Ooh.
Wow. I love those really super fast snares.
So crunchy.
Yeah.
That distortion.
I feel like I want a female vocal top line.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff worked well with that.
Yeah. It's kind of a trope.
Ooh, I love those.
I love the. It's so crunchy, dude.
Yeah.
To the Stars VIP.
Whoa.
Rockets.
Nice. Dude.
Yeah, that was
Crazy.
crazy. Yeah, that's festival music. That reminded me of wait, what do you? No, Darius put it's a dubstep track. That reminded me, and a lot of people said it. Skrillex. I'm thinking the bro step era. Way back. What was it? When I was in high school, man. Like 2010, 2013 type beat.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was super good. What's your first impressions, Jess?
I mean, shit, I think most of my first impressions were evident in listening.
Yeah.
Dude, like like we said, that is fucking crunchy in a good
Mhm.
way. Like the really tasteful use of distortion, sort of. Like I love that shit, right? Like we don't have enough distortion anymore in music because we don't have as much like distorted guitars basically.
Yep.
But that crunch is so nice, that texture that we don't always have now. Everything is always like smooth now. And I think that electronic music is really cool because it has such contrast in the textures that are used, right? You have
Yep.
these super crunchy, like distorted, but evenly distorted textures. And then you've got the really smooth stuff as well, which is cool.
Mm.
And
Mm.
you did all that here. So, I mean, aside from that, just sort of to start off with the categories, I guess. I mean, vibes, I would say, are like, yeah, really, really good.
Yeah.
The only thing that's
Nailed it.
maybe missing is like a vocalist or some sort of like subject, right? Because I mean,
Exactly.
if you want this to be background music, it works well because it is essentially background right now. What we
Mm.
need is foreground or a subject or a hook melody or something that can ride on top of it.
Yep.
But yeah, Chris, what do you think?
That is perfect, and I think someone nailed it in the head. P Blizzard Q reminds me of Rocket League music, to be honest. Which Rocket League lobby music is fucking fire, and some of them do a really good job with having a main melody. And it's kind of a comment that I said. Oh, like I wish there was kind of like a top line main melody with this, because it does sound a little bit like kind of background music. But that being said, it sounds professional as fuck. It sounds really
Yeah.
well done. It sounds that main like brown 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 like it the distortion sounds nice on it. It's crunchy as fuck. It takes up space in the mix and it's awesome. Um,
Hmm.
so vibes, I think it's bro step era type beat. I love how you turn into a club banger. It's almost electro, really. I guess with that four on the floor, like it's green. I love it. Um, content, yeah, for the most part. The first drop, I did feel just a tad, a little bit bored near the end of it. I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? I'm kind of over this. Um, and then that's when I made the comment about the female vocal. So just in general, there, I like we're talking about it. It's kind of missing a top line, I think. So I would say content is between yellow and green for sure. Everything else is really solid. I think it's like 80 to 90% green.
Hmm.
Production, I think this is green. This guy could probably mix better than I can. So
Yeah.
I can't give much tips here. I think it sounded great. I love the little like the pitch down snares that were going down before the drop. That was fucking sweet.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, what do you have, Josh?
Yeah, I would echo most of that. I mean, vibes I would say are pretty much green, aside from it'd be nice to have a vocalist or something. And then similarly for content, I think there were a couple places where it felt like just a little bit repetitive, that they could use something to help keep it fresh, like a vocal or you know something to sort of pop out, because right now it's very foundational and that's great. But just something to like something interesting on top that's different, melody or like a vocalist or whatever it is. So content, I would give it
Oh god.
like 70% to green, something like that.
Yep.
And green on vibes. I don't know if I said that. And production, yeah, like you're a production pro. It sounds like pretty much. I always respect when there's people, especially in electronic music, who are just like wizards of like getting everything to fit together really well, because they're using all of these in the box sounds. And in a lot of cases, like they're creating their own stuff with synthesizers, right? Rather than like finding samples, which is like one in the box sort of method. They're often creating these soundscapes and shaping the sounds themselves, which is so cool. Uh, and they're just like wizards with it. Like they just like are tweaking all these like oscillators and like different like waveform shapes and shit, and like using like really complex ducking and multi-band compression, side chaining, and when you're doing all of that in the box from scratch, you can get something that sounds super super tight and cohesive. And this seems one of those kinds of tracks, one of those kind of producers. So props for that. I would definitely give a green on production. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, do we want to do our track total? I don't know how much else we have to say about this.
Yeah, track total, I think it's a solid good to go. It's between green and purple for me because I did really like a lot of the stuff, but I do find it kind of, missing that. Like with so when I think of EDM producers that I fucking love, like, so back in the day, I used to really love Skrillex, um, and I love Flume to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys just have a knack for having something so entertaining to listen to, so weird, so in your face, so catchy, and I think this has like everything solid, uh, production wise, and it's a structured song, well structured song. The sounds sound fucking great, but it is just for me missing that it factor that makes it a purple for me. So I think it's a solid grade. I think this is good to go. Push to your audience. People will love it. What about you?
Definitely. Um, yeah, I feel like it's probably around there for me too. Like, somewhere around good to go, because I think you could
Yeah,
definitely just push this out right now and like have a lot of success with it, like actual success.
yeah,
There's a couple things that I think me and Chris sort of would want for it to be top tier track for us personally. Just like, again, like a subject, some sort of melody, like a story, like that's the kind of thing that we're looking for, like a vocalist, something like
yeah,
that.
yep,
But yeah, overall, super impressive. Thanks for sending this to us.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Our goal with the feedback really is to try to get everybody to green. Like as a what is it? Service providers of feedback. We want everybody to get to a green. That's a threshold that we think is professional. That you can find success. You can find your audience. Um, as music listeners, we're always would love to have every song be something that we fucking love and save to our library, and that's purple. But that's not realistic. So yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you for
Thanks.
submitting. I appreciate it.
All
Cool.
right. Oh, next up, I'm excited about this one. We've
Local
got
artist.
Kokomono.
Yes.
Yeah, Kokomono. This is a debut single, I believe. This is Jake Julian. I don't know if Jake is on now, but
Yeet.
Jake has run house shows in Urbana in the
Love it.
past. Me and him, we played at, it was FYGU Fest, which ironically was brought to you by Twitch. So
Bro,
that was, yeah, so that was kind of fun.
Frygu Fest had
And,
a big artist too. They had fucking Trippy Red. They had
yeah,
Made in Tokyo. Crazy.
yeah, it was fun. We it was like we won some competition or whatever, and we like opened the thing, and it was like right at the beginning, so people were just walking in, which is kind of bullshit, but it was fun. We
Wow.
almost won the
Opener.
competition. We were like 1 point away or something from winning,
Sheesh.
like a headlining spot, like a spot before Trippy Red or something like that. But it was a good time. So
That's
I'm
cool.
excited to hear this. Jake is a fantastic guitar player and synth guy and producer and all that shit. So this is exciting. The song is called All the Way. Oh, let me get this up on the screen for you guys. Song is called All the Way, and it's a finished release. I think it just came out today, actually.
Crazy.
The description is a mixture of all the music I'm into: jazz, rock, gospel, hip hop, funk, R&B. Great
Wow.
genres.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. Produced entirely by myself in Ableton over the course of way too many weekends. Oh well. Definitely inspired by Anderson .Paak, Chance,
Love.
No
Love.
Name, and Brass Tracks with this one. Nice.
Hmm.
Also taking a lot of influence from Motown sound from the 60s.
Love.
Couldn't have prefaced it any better.
Great.
Let's listen.
Yeah, I'm ready. All the way.
All right.
Kokomono. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, first 2 seconds are good.
Bro, Pete Blizzard, are you in Champagne? What the fuck?
It's been a rough week, can't get enough sleep. Another long night of working, but I stay on my feet, keep chasing my dreams. I put it all, said I put it all in. Myself, my life, this risk is all that I am, and I'm saying my jam. I hit the gas on day, I'ma be a bowman, stay by 23, certain talk is cheap, my actions speak with urgency, and put my life on this vision, stay committed to the dream.
I think right away, I want vocals to be louder and more present.
Yeah.
Dig a little deeper. 60-hour weeks
Ooh,
is so
I like these synths though.
but duck anxiety while the world be trying me. All my grind because this music's all I ever need.
What?
All my dreams are personal.
Oh,
Please
shit.
don't take it personal. Yeah, I ain't do the way I do. Spend $8 grand on my school, all on glass like paper physics shit got me confused. I'm just trying to make it through. Beating my bitch from the basement, from the base up and down, bad bed down with it. I ain't in the
Whoa.
I'ma be setting the roof up. I'll be hitting the gas on the move up. You ain't hitting me yet, you be snoozing. I'll be living it out for the future. Yeah, I'm putting in work, don't say a life. For diamonds, what my mind say. Love this life that we live it y'all way up. I'ma fight for this vision, going all the way up. I'm going all the way, and I'ma put it all in. Myself, my life, these words get all that I am. And I'ma stay in my jam.
Oh, the organ.
Hours of time, I'm too invested to quit. I went passions with pride. I'm pushing past the bullshit. People go wicked with pride once they get taste of success. Got up and chasing a dime. Be passing you by, maybe chasing a dream. It's just as much of a trap. Perhaps the art that I made doesn't make up for the lack of time I have to enjoy the place in life that I'm at. I take in all that I can and put in all that I am. 'Cause I can see it all the way.
Nice.
I'ma be on a stage, always lead unafraid, 'cause I'm taking my life to the high life, and I'ma put it all in. Myself, my life, these words get all that I am, and I'ma stand my
Woo! Dude, oh my god.
Oh my god! Sorry, I had to turn you down. Holy shit!
Me too.
Yeah, right away. I had to turn up the volume because I wonder if there's like some mastering issues there with limiting and stuff. But
Sure.
wow, this guy's fantastic, and I've heard rumors about Kokomoto tearing up house shows here
Mhm.
and inspiring my bandmates. Actually, like they went to a
Nice.
show I think maybe last weekend for Halloween. They're like, dude,
Yeah.
Kokomoto is like absolutely insane.
Dude.
But, yeah, I could tell
That's
the
awesome.
talent is there. That there's some soul there for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my first impression. What do you think, Josh?
Man, I mean, firstly, I just to say, like, Jake, you're definitely an A1 like songwriter and player. Those are like the biggest things from this. Like that song all the way through. I mean, like your vocal lines are really catchy and really good, and your instrumental parts go along with all of that really well. The sections, there was like great variation. It never got boring. There was great variation between what was happening and like the breakdown, like changing things up, and like your flow was good on those parts too. Like
Oh,
damn,
dude, the change-up was
super,
crazy.
yeah, man, like super versatile. Those synth parts are great. I think the only thing, like Chris said, is just like biggest thing is mastering.
Yeah.
I talk about this pretty often, but I recommend for a lot of reasons, even if you do the mixing yourself, to get like a separate individual to do the mastering. Just
Borg.
because, yeah, get Forborg, man. He's in town,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
He's a good engineer.
Yeah, man. But like seriously, just it can be really helpful to get a sectors on it before it goes out the door to the streaming services. And actually, if you want to get it mastered by somebody, which might honestly be a good idea, you can just like re-upload it to the same streaming services. You won't lose your plays or links or anything like that. So I might even recommend that since you just came out with it, and since both me and Chris had to turn up pretty considerably to
Yeah.
reach the volumes of all the other stuff that we've been listening to, which isn't even radio stuff, right? So I would definitely, that's like the biggest recommendation.
Yeah, dude, take your winnings from a show and then put it into an
Yeah,
engineer.
to mastering your first single, yeah.
Yeah, or you could like do it. I mean, it's you said it took you weeks in production for Ableton, bro. You have the talent to just like say fuck it, I'm gonna go play live and sound great, and then make that money, and then put that money into an engineer.
Yeah.
Make a partnership with them and have them make you shine.
And look,
Honestly.
the thing that I think by far is the most common that we see is your things that you can't control hurting your ability to make something that sounds radio ready. And what I mean by things you can't control mostly is your room, which I mean, there are some things you can do, but if your room is
Yeah.
too small, it's very hard to get an accurate picture of what you're doing because, again, you've got just because of the way that sound works, the physics of sound, you've got standing waves in your room that when the room gets smaller, those wavelengths start to uh, equal the low frequency of your hearing range, which means that as your speakers are pumping out sound, the room is resonating back and forth between those surfaces
Shaking.
at a wavelength that totally masks your perception of your low end. And also, like, if you're in like a carpeted room or you have too much like foam on the walls, you might be hearing less of your high frequency stuff, and then you're hyping it up, and then you end up with sort of a hollow sounding mix that's too bright. So like the room is the thing that can kill you the most, or having monitors that aren't like super accurate. Again, reference with other speakers like headphones, car, other people's monitors, stuff like that. Get second perspectives in the mixing process. So like, you know, that's sort of what we're doing here, but get people to tell you how it sounds to them, and get a separate person to do your mastering. That's what the most actionable advice that I could give around this kind of thing.
Mm.
But that's more production. Do we want to just go through our ratings in each category?
Yeah. Let me see if there's any thing I missed in the chat. So good night, Meadle. Music. It's 3 a.m. in his country or her country.
Yeah.
So good night. Darius he loves it. So many genres. Nightbot seems to be timing Yuha a lot, and
Yeah.
it's timing other people out about.
Let's go
spamming.
through let's not
Yeah.
read every chat just because I want to try to get through these a little bit quicker.
Okay. I just want to say
If
we'll
there's
probably
anything
change
important,
that, but yeah,
but if
let's
there's
do it.
anything important, we can shout it out. But let's not
Sure.
go through every single one. While you're reading that, I'll just start to go through these, I guess. Vibes, like, dude, oh my god, this is somebody. I think Yuha said in there, purple vibes. That's definitely true. Like this thing, we talked about reasons why. Like your arrangement's great, your lyrics are great, your flow is great, the sounds are great, all of that stuff. Vibes are like off the charts. Lots of genres mixed together. Super cool. In terms of content, I think again, like your arrangement and your songwriting are part of that, and they're like just absolutely great. There might be a couple things that are more related to production that sort of tie into arrangement and content. Like there were a couple of places, just a few, with organ or a couple of synths that felt like they could have been cleaned up, like in the production sense, just a little bit, like to sort of sit in the mix a little bit more. I did like when they came in; they were very noticeable. That's like a small thing, just sort of smoothing out the edges on some of those transitional elements. But otherwise, content I would also give you a green on for sure. Like amazing song. And then I think I already talked about most of the stuff with production. Is just like maybe assessing your room and your listening conditions, getting outside perspectives, and getting mastering more in check because it is pretty quiet compared to other stuff.
Mhm.
And we had to turn up I had to turn up pretty high on my audio interface even to hear it at a good volume.
Reference
Um,
track.
yeah, reference tracks is the way for kind of stuff. But yeah, I can't really think of much else, honestly, in production either. It's like pretty good. So I'd give it a like 90% of the way to green on production. But Chris, what about you?
Oh, production. Oh shit. I think production's a yellow. But let me get into
Really?
vibes. Yeah, for sure. So vibes is a definite green, definite purple. All the influences I heard it. You have a dope soulful voice, dude. Um, I love it. Um, yeah, I I want to see you guys live. There's nothing to
Yeah.
say there really. Content, as far as like all the instrumentation that I heard, the trumpets, I loved it. The organ, I loved it. Um, I do agree that maybe at times it felt like there's a lot of things going on, maybe just overcrowding in the instrumental mix, which I think as more, it can be kind of achieved. I could see why you put it in content, Josh. It's kind of like an arrangement issue, but I think it could also be addressed in production. So I think content for the most part, it's like 90% green. Um, Production, so yeah, right away, like I think, and like what is it? Services like Spotify are trying to alleviate this problem of very different sounding volumes. Um, they're trying to make all the volumes like the same, such that the listener experience when they're listening to a playlist, for example, um, saves pretty much roughly the same, and they don't have to turn it up themselves. Because unfortunately, the human ear is like, oh, the louder it is, the better it's going to sound, or the more it's going to hit. And so the fact that I had to turn it up a lot, it's really is kind of like telling of, or not telling, but it's a factor. Unfortunately, it's a factor of people like coming across your music for the first time, and they're just like, oh, it's too quiet, I can't hear it. This doesn't bump. I'm just going to go to the next song. So it's a shame, and that's why I do have to give it like at least a yellow. Um, so yeah, right off the top, the mastering itself, I think it is very quiet. So the way to address that is put in a reference track at the uh, what is it, line level, I guess. Basically, like at 0 dB, put in a reference track that you have a good quality from, maybe like a CD or like iTunes or something. If you can get into Ableton, but yeah, and then see how quiet your track is compared to that, and then try your best to try to get the volumes the same. Like push up
Right.
your track to that volume,
And
just
that's
to avoid
best
that
done
problem.
that's best done in the mastering phase usually, because like it doesn't make as much sense, especially if you've got anything on the master bus. You don't want to just like create another track in your mixing session with a reference track in it. You
Hmm.
can listen side by side, or you can bounce the track out and then listen side by side with just in iTunes to both of them. But with this, it's definitely more in the mastering phase that you'd be worrying about
I do
raw volume and dynamics. And
honestly, I
if
do
you
it both. I do it both in the
right.
mixing and mastering phase.
Yeah, I
So
mean, you should be referencing stuff in both parts. It's just like if there's you can have a technical issue with putting a full track inside of a mixing session if it's going to your mix bus, and if your mix bus has processing on it, because now you're
yeah,
processing the other track and you're not hearing it.
you could
But that's
change
just
the
a word of
output. Yeah, you could change the output instead of the mix bus or whatever. You could
right,
change the
right.
output to like the stereo output. And
Hmm.
then typically with mixing, you want to leave a little bit of headroom before you go into mastering. I've seen like 3 to 5 dBs of headroom.
Hmm.
Um, so I would say do that. I do it both mixing and mastering phases. Um, and I kind of mix as I go, uh, and just to kind of alleviate the process. I think it's
Right.
much faster that way.
As you're
And I'll
recording stuff.
say, yeah, well, like I record most of my stuff, and then like as I'm, yeah, with like MIDI or something. I typically do MIDI. I don't know what he's doing, but
Sure.
yeah, I'll be like, oh, this sounds good in the left of my ear, maybe a little bit. This is too loud. I should duck this, whatever. I don't have like a mixing phase, like per se. It's not like a defined time, I guess. But the last thing I'll say is the balance with the vocals. You have such a dope vocal line, man. You have dope bars.
Yeah.
You have such a soulful delivery that I want to hear it pop out more. I love the trumpets, but like comparative balance wise, like you need to shine more, for sure. So I would just boost my vocals if I were you. You got a great voice, like do it. People want to hear it. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm being a little tough on production, but I really do think that it could go the next level, and I think it's a yellow for me in production. Um, yeah, overall track. I mean,
Track
so yeah, track total. So congratulations, you released it. I think you said it was your first
big
release or
milestone.
something. Fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous. My first release was garbage, but this is great. I think that there needs to be some development for it because, and that's fine. You don't have to take it down, like Josh said, with streaming services now. Depending on which one you do, the distribution, excuse me, you can upload a new mix and you won't lose all your stats. Um, it might not have to be right away, but I think eventually, as a professional profile, that's something you might want to look into, just because, at least for the volume issue. So I think it's between good to go to develop for me, with the potential of purple. Really, this is a crazy track. The
Yeah.
switch up was amazing, dude. The switch up was amazing. All right, Josh.
Yeah,
Sorry,
for
I
real.
talked a lot. I talked my ass off there.
No, you're good. Um, yeah, I mean, I would say, man, it's so good. It's one of those things, like I said before, where it's got the special sauce, right? But it just needs the fundamentals now. Like it
Yep.
just needs the mixing and mastering part. This is really all it is. Uh, just to make it, just tighten things up a little bit and bring that volume up. Make it sound a little bit bigger. Uh, man, it'll go a long way for sure. So I would say it's like
I need to meet this
probably
guy.
yeah, probably 80% of the way to good to go. and it's got that undertone of purple. So if you do end up getting it remastered, you have a chance to send it to us again and
Ooh,
possibly get top tier, and then you get on our top tier track playlist, which is really special. So it's a
I could
win-win.
totally see this.
Yeah.
I would love to have a playlist. I don't know if there is one out there of just like dope champagne artists too. Because I would put this there with fucking
Oh
Jada
yeah.
Mosley and I Am
Hell yeah.
Lost too, for example. But okay,
Absolutely.
cool.
All right. Sick. Thanks, Jake. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you,
Hope to
Jake.
hear more from you soon, man. This is dope.
Crazy.
All right. So
Let's
next,
see.
I think we've got Espa Beats, right?
Yeah, Espa Beats. He's a chatter. They said they were patient. I don't know if they're still here.
Espa, if you're here.
He said, "Let's go."
Hey.
That's dope. All right, we finally got to you. Let me go pull up the form real quick just to make sure what we're looking at on Q. I think there's a small description there, Josh, if you want to read it.
Yep. It says I was just fucking around with effects and shit.
All right, great. I clicked the link. Did it say drill? Did it say Dutch drill?
It says Dutch drill.
Dutch
Tight
drill. Evil. Okay, I mean, I'm a big fan of drill, so I'm excited. It's a tight beat, so typically he sells to a rapper. But yeah, there probably won't be vocals. But you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Evil. Prod Espa. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, it's a little fast for a drill beat. Okay. Whoa, what? Right away with an effect like that?
Interesting.
Ah! Bad man thing. That crunchy little like cut. The bell reminds me of Yeet. Shout out Yeet. Key change?
Yep.
That's the first time I've heard a key change in a drill song. That's sick.
Yeah. That's cool.
Hey Josh, you want to freestyle?
Let's go.
I mean, it's not
Walking down the
synced up
street.
to
Yeah.
me. Walking down the street.
That's always the first line of a really good freestyle.
I see what he means by he's fucking around with all the effects, especially like straight from the beginning. It was interesting though. I think that's a solid fucking drill beat too. Solid type beat. I'm thinking of I thought of one of my friends fucking loves drill, and he'd fucking love this shit. That'd be crazy. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I did have to agree on that first part. Like, I thought that effect was a little bit too much. Like, you know, it felt like things really kind of dropped out a little bit too much there. Overall, you know, it's okay. I sort of feel like it definitely needs something more, right? It feels kind of like almost like a draft to me personally. And by the fact that you said like you're just fucking around with effects, like, you know, I know it's sort of just a fun project, it seems like, but I think that being said, you could take it and turn it into something really cool. Like foundationally, it sounds good to me. Like it sounds pretty well, you know, produced and mixed and everything.
Yeah.
You actually, this one might have been like a little bit quiet, or actually, I guess my volume was a little bit down by default here on YouTube for some reason. But yeah, overall, I think sonically it sounds pretty good. I just wish it was a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's kind of the type beat thing, though. So I feel like we have to put that frame in mind. So a type
Sure.
beat typically, you know, it's going to leave a lot of room for the artist to do what they want to do with it. And also, it's kind of up to the artist to add a beat switch up. So, like, if I were to put the song in and I wanted to beat the dropout here, then I would do that. And if I wanted that specific effect that he does in the beginning song, I could put that kind of anywhere. It's almost like Legos. So, with that in mind, I think, like Josh said too, for a type beat, it needs to be solidly mixed, right? It has to hit hard and it has to hit radio levels. And I think it does, or at least pre-mastering levels. And I think it checks all those boxes. I think it's big man sound, big man ting. I would love to freestyle on it if the unfortunately the stream audio is linked to Josh's and not mine. But I would
Oh
love
yeah.
to freestyle to it. And I think that's what it was, freestyle type beat, right? So, Josh, the chat, they said this for the third time in a row, and I just got to say it for us next time. It seems like when you first play the music for like at least 10 seconds, it sounds like fucking Bit Crushed. So
Where did they? That was for the last one though.
no, it's every single. So it happened with Yuhas, it happened with the VIP, and it happened with Espa. Every single time.
Okay. When were these?
I,
Are you
but
sure that it was from? Oh, I see. Somebody said it was lagging. Yeah, that's
yeah,
weird.
I
But
don't know why. It's something we could discuss, but yeah.
I don't know. That hasn't happened before. Unfortunately, it's not really in our control. But that's a little bit strange. I don't know why that would be. It sounds like
Hopefully,
after 10 seconds, it becomes completely clear and normal though. So
yeah,
I don't know. Some weird audio codec thing in the back end must be happening.
maybe, yeah. Let us know, guys, if it's every single time. Like for those people that keep coming back, just let us know. Maybe it's a one-time
Yeah,
thing.
that's weird. Strange.
But yeah, so vibes. Yeah, I think it's green. I think it's pretty hard. Shout out the bells. I like the bells. Yeet. Content. I think it's like it's a type beat, so there's
Yeah,
a lot to like
Espa.
here.
I was gonna say, by the way, Espa, can you let us know like what's the nature of the process behind this? Like, what I'm sort of just wondering how many different pieces this originally was, or if it was like mainly like a beat that you found and then applied effects to it, or if like did you add the bells? Were those part of it? How many different samples is this made of? Because I'm just wondering, like, is it basically one sample with a couple of things added, or is it really a collection of different things that you've sort of created here? Just out of curiosity.
One
Um,
sample. I hope not.
yeah, I hope not, but I mean, every once in a
A
while,
drill beat sample.
you do hear people find like almost. Oh, okay, cool. So you said you made the whole beat yourself. That's awesome. That being said, I think that these things are working together really well. Like your mixes sound right. Like I mean, your levels sound right. Your mix sounds pretty good.
He's got
Um,
contact. He's serious.
yeah. So yeah, that's legit. Props to you for that. But Chris, do
Yeah.
you want to go through with what you're saying?
Yeah. So content. Yeah, I think it's green. I think it's solid. Production. I think it's green as well. I think this is pretty much good to go. This is exactly where it needs to be. It needs more likes and views. Yeah, I could send my boy it because he fucking loves drill music, dude. Every
Yeah.
time he tries to do a drill remix. I think this sounds great, man. Just keep releasing your type beats. Find rappers that you really fuck with, and yeah, I mean, this is solid shit. Just keep pushing them out. It's a grind, the type beat game, but um, I've seen people get huge placements off of it. So yeah, cool.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Happened with Nightbot there
yeah, see,
with
that's what I
Espa.
mean. Yeah, we got to put Nightbot in check. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Want to go to the next one? Kai Lethal.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, did we do the categories yet?
No, yeah,
Or
I just did. I think.
the ratings? Okay, I don't think I did mine.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
For vibes, no, you're good. vibes for me, I would say, is yellow, just because it's not totally my personal like genre or whatever. And could use a little bit more, finesse, like something on top to make it a little bit more unique or interesting. Content, again, I feel like your choices in terms of source material are good. Again, we could just use something in the arrangement to make it a little bit more engaging. But for what it is, I think it makes sense for the most part, like as like a type beat. And then for production, I would give you pretty close to green, like 90% of the way to green, I would say, because I think things sit together pretty well, and you said that you put it all together, so that's impressive. Overall, I would give it somewhere between develop and good to go. But yeah, we can go to the next one here. Thanks for sending it in, Espa.
Yeah, Espa is fucking solid.
Very solid.
So Kai Lethal's next.
Yeah, this might be our last one. Actually,
I was gonna say. So I want to just say for the next three. So we actually have three in the queue after this guy. This Kai Lethal. We also have Darius too, who I think was in the stream. We have four actually. We have four people after this 7th song, which is crazy.
Oh shit!
So thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Sorry we couldn't get to you, but yeah. So on the next week. Next week we have Darius. You're gonna be number one. So I thought he submitted and went to sleep. So then Giordano Martinez and then Astrosim. You guys will be the top of the line next week. Sorry we couldn't get to you.
Yeah, just make sure that you follow us on Twitch or YouTube,
Instagram. You guys can submit before the stream. So if you're submitting during the stream, and then that's probably the most likely time that you're going to get skipped to the next week. So if you want to actually get played during the stream, like submit before, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, so and Espa just said here, you got my socials, so you can just contact me on Instagram if your friends want to rap on it. All right, if somebody wants to rap on it, or somebody's friends do, take him up on that offer.
I'm thinking of Ozzy. Shout out Ozzy, but he's in the hip hop club with me. All right. Enough of this shit. Enough of this fuck shit. We got some fuck shit to listen to. Kai Lethal, Fuck Shit, featuring Cryo, prod by Cactus. You ready, Josh?
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Let's watch some crazy stuff, yo!
Japanese. Little Cardi type beat.
Stacy.
Hey, yo, Cactus.
All these tags. It's so Cardi, bro. It's so Cardi.
Your life a movie. Then minus quick cut, mix tip. Keep pace, everything buzz. Cut spikes, I'm a cactus. Don't care what I'm selling, bitch, I'm taxing. Cut spikes, I'm a cactus. Don't care what I'm taxing.
Oh, is that Jess?
Ooh, nice stereo stuff.
Yeah. Money, Mr. Krabs. What did he say? Something
No
about
idea.
booty king DDD?
No idea.
I like these references, man. what was it? Get Money, Mr. Krabs. At some point during the first verse, there's a oh shit, gunshot, gunfire type beat. Kai Lethal, fuck
Damn.
shit. That was solid as fuck. I just listened to a whole lot of Red earlier today. Playboy
Mhm.
Carti's recent album. This is the vibe that I've been in all day. So
Sure.
Kai Lethal, fuck shit. That was cool. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
curious from your point of view. What do you think?
it's like, I mean, you might know, it's like not exactly my area. For me, it's like a little bit kind of like goofy, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, like the
vampire
pitched up,
energy.
yeah, like the pitched up vocal. Like for me, it's not totally my genre.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, for what it is, like, yeah, it fits in with all that stuff. But it, to my personal opinion, is like, all right, I've heard that clap snare thing 1,000 times. I've
Hmm.
heard those hats and those hat patterns at the same tempo 1,000 different times. So I'm a little bit tired of that sound personally, because
Hmm.
it's just like a template that everybody uses. But it is done well here, right? Like for the most part, things sound good sonically, and there's
Yeah.
nothing really wrong with the arrangement. I mean, there's a couple of like smaller things on the production side that I could go into, but I don't know. Do you want to start going through the categories?
Yes. Just a second. Just reading the chat real quick. There's a lot of switch up. Blah blah blah. Hit the back to this. Later, you have. Yeah. Do you want to add anything else? No, I think we can go into the categories. Let's do it.
Sure.
So vibes. I mean, you already kind of said it, right?
Yeah.
For what you thought. For me, like I said, this is fucking Playboy Cardi, whole lot of red vibes, so hard, bro. Um, I think, yeah, Kai, like I could tell your influences, man, and like you do it well, and I do think Josh has a point of like, um, there's a lot of copycats of Cardi out there. There's a lot of copycats of Cardi that get really big, mind you, as well. I'm thinking of Cochise. I think Cochise also has made his own style a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this is a hot style. Everybody's doing it. I think he did it really well. Um, I love this vampire energy type shit. I love the. I'm half Japanese, so I like Japanese shit in the beginning. I think at one point you had, I think it was a Ness sample, where he like dies in Smash Bros or something. That was cool. Cryo, I think he was the second guy, right? Uh, the Money Mr. Krabs, like that was great. The thing with these type of songs is like for 99% of the song, I don't know what the fuck you were saying. That's like the
Yeah,
downside
I
to
was
it.
gonna say that too. I was like
So
trying to make it out.
yeah, and so I think and Cardi, honestly, he doesn't give a fuck, and like almost zero of his bars are fucking memorable. But when one does come through like that, and I like it, it makes me smile. That's like great. So shouts out to the Mr. Krabs line and shit like that. But yeah, vibes. I'm getting in too much to it. It's green. I love it. Vampire shit. Content. Uh, it's just kind of I guess run of the mill. I think it's uh how long was it? It was like a decent length actually for two verses. Yeah,
229.
229. So in this genre of music, any other genre of music, two different fucking artists, 2 minute 30 is going to be really really short. But yeah, there is not really a switch up. I think it was a perfect length for what you're going for. Um, I think, mind you, it's just kind of run of the mill. If you want to go for like top tier track type energy, to make it more memorable, I think more contrast and kind of an actual movement of the song is available. But bro, it's a Vampire Club type beat. It is what it is. So I think it's between yellow and green for me. Production, it sounds pretty much professional. Um, I think the way that I took it is Kai Lethal. I think you're the first guy. You are mixed very dry for this type of music, which
Hmm.
put me off a little bit at first, but it sounds professional. It sounds like even your ad libs, dude. It sounds like you were mixed like Kendrick on Family Ties, like the fucking with his ad libs even. It was just very dry sounding. Cryo, I think, in terms of how he was produced and mixed, he was a little more wet, I would say, with vocal effects. Gave him more stereo effects. He was just there's more reverb on him, more delays. I think it fits that better. I guess that's what I was expecting, but honestly, that's kind of subjective. And we just said how you're kind of like following the trend, and that's cool and everything. And you doing something different here, and it sounds professional. Stepping back, I think I like it. So I think production is green. Josh, what do you
Sure.
think?
Yeah, I mean, vibes I sort of described already. I think I could see it's similar to a lot of stuff that's out there, and for some people, that's what they want. I mean, for me personally, it's a different
Do you
story,
like
but
Playboy Cardi? By the
dude,
way,
no, like I don't give a shit. Like I just it's not my world. Like I know some people, it's like they're like, how do you not listen to like artist A, artist Z, whatever? And I'm like, because everybody listens to different stuff. So I just don't really associate with that world as much, honestly, and it's just me. It's just personal preference. But I just like I already said what it was about, and I think somebody said they sort of saw, that point's kind of makes a little bit of sense, but the hi-hat pattern, the drum pattern, the sounds are very similar to a lot of stuff that's already out there, and it's just like not that interesting to me. So
yeah,
vibes, I would give it a develop probably. Um, then for content, I feel like I don't think you're really missing anything. I did also feel like I wish I could understand your vocals a little bit better, what you're saying. That would have been nice, but an interesting vocal thing you've got going on with what sounds like a pitched vocal. So
yeah.
yeah, I would give it a some spruce lemon lime for content.
Mhm.
Um, and then production, I thought was pretty good. I did feel like the kick and the bass might have been a little bit like just a tad too crunchy for my taste in this kind of thing.
I
Um,
love that shit.
yeah, which I mean, I can hear other stuff that has that I feel like does it really well. It's just like if you've got a little bit too much like belly in the low mids on those instruments, it can become a little bit bloated.
For
Uh,
sure.
like generally, I mean, that's often a problem you see because people are mixing on smaller speakers or in smaller spaces with low mid issues where there are problems often in the low mids oftentimes with like bass sounds being overly bloated in the low mids. Um, and so I think I hear just a tad of that. And it sort of bleeds into the distortion on those bass parts and the kick parts too. But it's not that bad. It's like very close to being really good.
Mhm.
And that's about it pretty much that I could hear there.
Mhm.
So I would give it again like a chartreuse on production, like pretty good.
Yeah.
Track totals.
Oh yeah. I just want to say, you said, by the way, the King DDD bar was a reference to a friend of mine that had passed away 2 weeks ago. Sorry about that, bro. Rest in peace.
Damn.
He liked calling himself King. That's a dope bar. That's a dope bar. I like that. And that was one of the bars that stuck out to me. So, yeah, man. Like, I feel like even though you say you're the best Cardi clone out there, like when you put yourself like that, it's like the best thing you could be is just a Cardi clone. So when you do stuff that is different like that and like real to your life and like a cool reference, like that's something that I picked up on. I didn't know that your friend died or they went by DDD or whatever, but it stuck out to me literally. You saw me be like, "Oh, that's a cool bar." So,
Yeah.
man, like try to stick out as much as you can in this game. With that being said, though, I think it's solid as fuck. I think it's a good to go. I think it's green. I think people like you'll find your own audience. You just got to get it out there. This sounds professional to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say probably like you're doing a lot of stuff here. I think I would just want to hear more of your own unique style. That's really what I'm getting at. But overall, like you've got the skills and the talent and all of that. So keep it up.
yeah, sounds great.
Um, I would say, yeah, definitely like pretty much the same, like chartreuse between develop and good to go on the track total.
Yeah, good
It's
shit, P
getting there.
Blizzard Q. Also, thanks for fucking helping our chat, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You've
We've
been
had it.
like
Yeah, it's
giving them commands and shit.
Yeah,
It's
today's
cool.
been a great stream with a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people getting feedback. We've got a few more to come back to next week, so hopefully you guys will come back. And
Crazy.
again, follow us on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram for updates and the link to our streams and all that stuff. And Discord as well. Maybe we can do that command in the chat again.
Yeah,
But yeah, we would love to hear from you guys again and keep providing feedback and more updates on what we're doing with FastTrack.
appreciate you, Blizzard. This is Maine. yes, the stream is wrapping up, but submit your song anyway. We'll get to you next week.
Yes. The
Let's
link
see.
is
I just
right
wanted
there.
to shout out one of our only YouTube chatters, Giordano Martinez. Thank you, bro. Says the vocals sounded solid, well mixed to me, like to play the live. Cool.
Let's
We all good to
go.
go?
Yeah.
All right, yo. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Discord. Please submit more music. We love hearing it. A lot of solid people out there. This stream.
Lot.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And keep the dope chat up. That was awesome. Awesome chat culture.
Yep. All right. Good shit, guys. Excited to be back next week and hear more. And thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend.